didn't hear anybody else clap.
I mean, I heard one person clap. I'm trusting you guys. I'm just trusting that you guys did it, so whatever. Welcome, everybody, to the World of Dragons podcast, the podcast where 2.5 dragons get together to discover, review, and discuss dragon-centric content, including but not limited to books, movies, TV shows, video games, to help you dragon fans discover the next world you want to lose yourself in. That's the first time I've done that smoothly. I am your host, Ray, and with me, as always, are Bantam and Dilettante.
Say hi, Dilettante.
I don't want to leave the pillow fort.
I say as always, but Dilettante's not always here, so that was a lie.
And I have returned from the land of hunting machines.
Let me try that again. This week, we're going to be reviewing the book The Last Monster on Earth by L.J. Davies. Dilettante gets some head pets. Bantam is using his DNF coupon.
Yeah, so I don't want to disparage the book too bad. The first several chapters are pretty fucking rough. And from everything I've read online, it gets better. Ray says that he got better. Dilettante finished the book, and I found that out after I basically told Ray I couldn't do it. It's not the book entirely. It's just that I've been in a funk for the past week and a half, where I cannot lock my brain down on anything productive, and I got all these chores to do, and I couldn't do any of them. I just wanted to play games, and I drowned in Horizon Zero Dawn, and I feel terrible about it.
You should.
I know. But I 100%ed Forbidden West and Burning Shores, so
Yeah.
I was able to disconnect the PS5 and give it back to its rightful owner, Ray.
Yep.
Ray.
I guess it's my fault for letting you borrow the PS5. I'm like, nope, finish. Be like a parent. Do your homework first, and then you can play video games.
Ray bought a PS5 so that he could play Final Fantasy 16, and then I promptly took it, and I bought Horizon Forbidden West.
That's okay. Final Fantasy's not out yet.
Yeah, I know. But I messaged Dilettante with screenshots of my 100% completions for both the game and the DLC, and Dilettante's like, oh, good, so you're going to archive it now? Which is what I do when I 100% a Steam game. And I said, well, no, it's on PS5, so I'm going to give Ray back his PS5. Taking Ray's toys.
How could you? I guess, real quick, do we have any dragon news? I don't think so.
No, nothing really going on in the world of non-dragons.
Of non-dragons?
Our world, our non-dragon world, the world that we're staying in.
That's what you meant.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
I was like, it's dragon news. How can it be non-dragons? What?
The only minor bit of dragon news, which I'm sure everybody's heard about by now, is that they are remaking Dragon's Dogma, or is it a sequel? It's a sequel.
There's a sequel.
Dragon's Dogma 2. But I don't know if we'll ever really cover that game because the dragon isn't really prevalent in it. I think you fight him in the beginning and at the end, and that's it.
He's the tutorial and the final boss.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll fix that problem in the sequel.
I mean, maybe. That's a possibility.
Yeah, I guess we'll see as it gets closer to release. I guess no dragon news. Bantam's already kind of shared what he's been up to in other worlds. So, Dilettante, what have you been up to lately?
Take a wild guess.
System Shock.
System Shock. The remake finally came out after 7 to 8 years of development. And it is fucking beautiful. It's chef's kiss. It was worth the wait. I didn't back it all the way back then, but
I also got you Bolt Gun. Did you like that one?
I did like Bolt Gun, but then System Shock came out.
That's totally fair. There's only a couple games on the horizon that I know for a fact that we're going to play. Ray and I definitely are looking forward the end of August to playing Baldur's Gate 3, which we will probably stream. I mean, there's got to be dragons in it. I mean, we know there's dragons in it. There's red dragons that the Githyanki fly on. But, yeah, we'll probably stream it. I don't know.
Yeah. I see no reason not to. It's just, our streaming hours are wonky, but we'll figure something out.
We'll drag Dilettante kicking and screaming into Baldur's Gate, because I don't know if they'll have a lone wolf.
I don't know if he's going to kick and scream that hard, though.
Probably not. Especially because we already know the Dragonborn are going to be a playable race, so it's just 3
You underestimate my kicking and screaming.
It's just 3 Dragonborn party go.
Pretty soon we have our anniversary coming up. So I'll say this again at the end where we give the information to get in contact with us, but just letting everyone know that with the anniversary of the podcast coming up, we will do a mailbag episode, so be sure to get in those questions or comments or whatever. And then shortly after that, I think just like a month or two, will be our 50th episode, and we're trying to figure out what we're going to do for that. What kind of special thing to do for that. So if you have any ideas, also let us know. So far, the winning idea on the Discord is the dramatic reading of the Grand Moot from Golden Treasure that we promised we were going to do like a year ago. Finally, we're going to do some voice acting.
Do we have to?
I mean, if we get a better idea, but that's what's winning so far. The other option that was given, that someone suggested, was we write short stories and then read them. Do you want to do that, Dilettante? Do you want to write a short story?
Not if I have to read it.
For the whole world to see.
Listen, when I was back in school and they had like called on us to read certain parts of the book, I did my absolute best to be as invisible as possible to never get called on.
Can't be invisible, you go down the line.
Yeah, well, so in my school it was the least prepared and more avoidant you looked when the teacher called on you, the more likely you got picked. In my school, if you raised your hand, they would just not call on you. The entire class could raise their hand except for one person, and they'd call on that one person.
Pretty much.
My school just went down the line. So you knew when you were getting called on because you were just going down the line of chairs. Everybody got a turn. As far as what I've been up to, Bantam's forced me to play through the first Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm like halfway through, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of doodads on the map. But I think I got half of them. I'm going into DLC land to see what that's like.
Horizon Zero Dawn is a really good game.
It's okay.
I just wish Aloy didn't talk to herself so much, but apparently that's a problem in modern gaming nowadays. Is characters. That
it's better than it being silent and nothing.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, Aloy talks to herself in like several complete sentences, like all the time.
Horizon Forspoken.
You like sci-fi dragons?
Yes.
Spaceships and technology and all that?
Yes.
Alright, I'm gonna use that against you later.
Oh no. What did I sign up against?
Somebody suggested a book to me. I read it. It was good. And now I'll force you guys to read it eventually. I guess there's nothing else we really need to dive too deep into. And we can get into the review of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Just literally silence for everyone to speak up. Alright, so, like I said at the beginning, we're doing The Last Monster on Earth by L.J. Davies. The general synopsis, it is the main character, it's a first person, so you have one character, POV, you see inside his brain, so he thinks a lot to himself.
Oh.
But he wakes up with amnesia, so no idea what's going on, and he wakes up as a little dragon creature thing.
Yeah, he's like about the size of like a large dog, right?
Yeah, I want to say like tiger or lion size, like something like that. But yeah. But with amnesia, even though he has amnesia, he remembers being human, so he still wakes up and has the whole, oh god, what's going on, panic attack, because he's a monster now. It is a post-apocalyptic setting. There are very few sentient creatures out there, so he wanders around alone for a bit, meets up with some other people, and then we have it turns into it's a zombie book, guys.
It's Walking Dead.
It's
Walking Dead with a dragon.
I have never seen Walking Dead, and even I could tell this is fucking Walking Dead. So admittedly, I checked out. I finished the book, but I mentally checked out like 4 chapters into it because I was like, oh my god, they tricked me into reading a zombie book. It's a zombie book with a dragon skin, which made it palatable, but it's still a zombie book.
Yeah.
Not for me. I've had so much zombie fatigue from The Walking Dead, fucking Resident Evil.
I know, me too. That's why I avoid it as much as I can. But yeah, so everybody on the planet has turned into these little dragon creatures. vast majority of them have gone feral. They don't have any sapience left. Hence the whole zombie thing. And apparently, if they bite you, then you will go feral too. So yeah, it's zombie.
It's zombies with a bunch of different modifiers.
Yeah. So that's the general synopsis. We'll get more into some nuances in the spoiler section, but I guess very, very brief overview. Like, what did you guys think of it?
Go ahead, Dilettante.
The one who actually read it.
The one who actually read it. I read the first few chapters, and I have a lot of opinions about the first few chapters.
It was honestly predictable for the beginning, and then it just went batshit crazy at the end, and I'm just like, what the hell? And when I finished it, there was a wave of relief.
Yeah. It was done. I mean, but was that your normal done with the book wave of relief because you just don't like reading, or was it like
this was an extra wave of relief?
It was an extra wave of relief.
Probably opposite to the wave of dread that I had when we were driving in the car, and I told Ray I was going to do my best, but I was struggling, and he mentioned that Dilettante already finished it, and I went, no. And he's like, yeah, he already finished it. And I'm like, he says he finished it. He's like, no, he proved it. He told me about the ending of the book, and I went, oh my god, I'm the failure?
You are the failure.
Not saying that you're a failure, Dilettante,
I'm taking away one of your gold noodle stars.
You're taking one of my what?
Good noodle stars?
No,
good noodle stars.
But I'm a good noodle.
You can redeem yourself next book.
Yeah. Thing is like, it really is depending on the book. And like I said, I'll get into why this was so hard for me. Because the last book that we read that didn't have an audio version was the Eternal Horizon, or whatever it was called. Virtual Horizon.
No, that had an audio version.
It did.
Yeah.
Because that book was just wonderful. Like, I loved it, and I don't recall it being an audiobook, but whatever. But like
the last non-audiobook that we read was Loki Carmen.
Oh yeah, and I read that one. Yeah, it's like there's some stuff about this book that just made it very, very difficult for me.
I partially blame the zombie fatigue that's going around.
As far as Dilettante with it being predictable, I agree. It was very tropey, especially like early on, and I feel like towards the end, the author's like, wait a minute, I'm being very tropey, and flipped the table.
He flipped the tropes, in my opinion.
He went from tropey zombie movie to tropey something else, which I can't say without spoiling it. But yeah, he traded one set of tropes and cliches for another one.
Pretty much.
But yeah, so what did you guys think about his the quality, his writing style, the pacing, the dialogue, that kind of stuff? This is where you warn people, oh, they use made up words, but that's not the case. But like stuff
they
like that.
use made up words. The pacing's slow as hell. Dialogue's kind of basic. You know what? Everybody seems to have like one trait in this book, and they just write it to the fucking end.
Just like a singular trait character. Like, here is my character.
This guy's the crazy one. This one's the asshole. This one's the untrustworthy one. This one's
you got the untrustworthy one, the leader one,
this is going to be
depressed one.
This is going to be a super callback for anybody who remembers Homestar Runner way back in the day. But it's like Teen Girl Squad.
What?
No.
Bantam's just dating himself like holy hell.
Like oh my god, I can't even remember the thing, but it was like the bitchy, the what's her face, the ugly one. Never mind. Really?
Well, so I used to watch HomestoryRunner.com, but I don't remember that at all.
It was called Teen Girl Squad.
Nope, don't remember that.
Oh my god. Okay.
Whatever. Poor Dilettante. Pat.
You mean me?
No, Dilettante's confused, so poor Dilettante. But yeah, Bantam, your thoughts on the quality?
All right. So his writing style, quality was maybe like a 7 out of 10. His writing style had a lot of problems for me, but it wasn't hard to read. And like I said, I don't like any book where they create a word and just use that word like, oh yeah. I actually saw a meme that put it perfectly. It's like, you ever read a fantasy book and you just see certain words that are commonplace, normal words, but they're capitalized because they mean something different in this world, and it's like, that kind of thing.
I didn't notice him doing that.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. He didn't do that.
Oh, that's a weird thing to bring up then. I didn't really like his writing style that much, but I don't know how much of it was it's a post-apocalyptic book, and I hate post-apocalyptic settings, because, especially early on, the beginning, the first few chapters, were so drawn out and long and boring, and nothing was happening, but that's because he's alone trying to find other people, and so there's no one to talk to, and I really like dialogue. So the fact that he was alone really made it kind of just drag on. He also did this really weird thing at the beginning when he finds I don't remember if it's a mirror or a puddle, but some sort of reflective surface, and he tries to describe what the character looks like. Really, really hard. Tries to avoid using the word like a dragon or dragon-like or anything like that.
It's as if dragons just do not exist in that world, because he describes every single body part using a different animal, and then constantly relents or just absolute misery over, oh god, I'm a horrible monster with like the eyes of a cat and the paws of a wolf or tiger or whatever. And it's like, dude, the thing is that I feel like the only audience for this book are people like us. You look at this book on the shelf and you see what looks like a DeviantArt dragon. I'm not saying that the art is bad, like on the cover, it's kind of cute, but the thing is that you buy this book because you look at the cover and you go, oh, a dragon, like he's cute, I want to read a book about a dragon. And then he spends several chapters describing the main character and what he looks like without ever using the word dragon. And it's
I just felt like he tried too hard when very obvious the people, your target audience knows what this monster creature thing is, because they've seen the cover art, and because, that's the kind of stuff they like. That's why they found the book. Like, you're not going to get picked up randomly off a Barnes & Noble shelf. Like, you have your audience you're already catering to. Like, you don't have to try that hard to avoid using the word dragon. People know it's a dragon. They came because it's a dragon. That's just my personal thought, but I don't know. He has better metrics than I do as far as what he sells to.
I wonder if he was trying to do the cliche of most zombie books don't call them zombies, they call them something else, like walkers, bikers. Right. I don't know. It's just one of those things they did.
Again, I avoid zombies like the plague, ha ha ha. But they really? Why would a zombie movie want to just not use the word zombies? Like, people know what zombies are.
Yeah, it's just one of those cliches. I don't know why it exists, but it exists.
Yeah, they ended up calling themselves the sane ones, like Uteka or something. I can't remember. Unteka, something like that. And they call the wild, crazy ones Wendigos. And it's like, can we just really not just use the word dragons, guys?
It's like,
please?
Yeah, did someone bet him, like, I bet you can't write a dragon book without ever using the word dragon. And he's like, oh yeah?
Yeah, okay. I could see that. But yeah, most of my problems with the writing style came in the first few chapters. It definitely got better after he meets some other people. I'm sorry if that's a mild spoiler, but consider it I feel like I have to let you know, don't worry, he meets other people. It gets better. He's not alone the whole time. Because, that definitely, the writing gets better once he meets other people. So, if you're curious, but you're being scared by what we're saying about him being alone and the dialogue dragging on, it gets better. During the first few chapters when he is alone, I feel like the author had a very, I'm going to call it circular writing, where he would use 100 words to describe one small action because he has to say it again in 3 different ways. I don't know the best way to describe it, but it took forever to just it really felt like he was padding it out because not really much can happen with just walking around a destroyed city looking around for survivors and finding nothing.
Yeah, the first few chapters, the beginning of the book, he wakes up in a car, and I swear to God, every other paragraph he was describing the rain hitting the car and the horror of his situation, and it was like, there was one of the reasons I couldn't finish the book is because like I'd get like 2 pages in and then go, wait, did I not hit the next page? And then I'd look and I'd be like, no, I did. Like it sounded like he had like 30 false starts for the book. Like he wrote it and then went, no, I can do that better, and then wrote it again, and then again and again. It was really aggravating.
Yeah. This author has some of the books he's already written. This was the book 1 of a new series he was starting. And I picked this rather than his old stuff because I just, picked the new thing because he'll be better and whatnot, right? I'm a little scared about reading his old stuff now. But we'll see. Hope maybe it's better because it's not post-apocalyptic, but whatever. Next bullet point, the believability / realism / verisimilitude. Was the world itself believable?
Nope.
No?
Every time I always read some of these post-apocalyptic books, the way they design the characters and their personalities, it feels completely out of... I can never believe it. Mainly because everybody's so one-dimensional for one part, that they just have their one little trait. And on top of that, the way this guy is always trying to cling on, like, we gotta be better, guys, we cannot be monsters, we've gotta be hopeful, we gotta stick together and shit.
Okay, now that you're pointing that out, I actually do realize that too. But I didn't notice that while I was reading it. But now that you're saying it, yeah. He did come across as a little whiny now that I think about it.
It was exhausting.
Yeah, he whined a lot. And I actually, I vented to a friend last night about the book. And I said that the book felt like pulling teeth. I really couldn't do it. He spends 8 pages describing every body part in a way that actively avoids the word dragon. It got irritating. And I said that that he just basically spends most of the first part of the book whining. Self-pity, whining, and it just, I hated him.
I actually felt like it was it was believable, but I don't read a lot of zombie and post-apocalyptic stuff like Diletan says he does. So I guess I don't really have a lot to compare it to.
Well,
from
Diletan and I have both read World War Z, and that was a really well-written book because it was a collection of short stories written from people trying to survive in the zombie apocalypse. But World War Z was written by basically like the king of zombie stuff, so like he did a really good job with it.
In his defense, that wasn't a zombie apocalypse. That was more of like a interview after a massive war. It wasn't the end of the world. It was just a reshaped world.
Oh, okay.
Right, but the point is, like, me coming with very little experience in this genre, it felt good, like it was believable, and it was like I could enjoy it and whatnot. You both say that it was extremely tropey and one-dimensional. I didn't really catch that, so I guess your mileage may vary.
Me and my mom love watching The Walking Dead, and I could actually see which season these scenes are coming from.
I mean, it's fair. If you really liked something and you want to write your take on it, then that's fine. So if you liked The Walking Dead and wanted to try it with dragons, then that's okay. It's just, as somebody who does not like zombies and post-apocalyptic wastelands, it wasn't for me. But that's alright. I still feel like after the first few chapters, he wrote it pretty decently well, from what I could tell. And yeah. The next aspect, the dream fulfillment. Basically, is it dragony enough? Does it scratch that dragon itch? Like
they never say dragon, so no.
Forgiving them for doing that. Did it feel like the characters were actually monsters, or were they just
here's the
humans in a dragon suit? They would transform humans into dragon suits. But
here's the big problem: when you actively avoid using the word dragon, you could slap any costume on the main character. He could have been a wolf. He could have been a cat. He could have been a dog. He could have been literally anything. The fact that they never once described being a dragon.
Okay, let me rephrase it then. Did the book / author do a good job of capturing the feeling of people that woke up as monsters and having to deal with that?
No. No, because and we discussed this at work, and to the point where I even asked my coworkers who work in the next department over. I said, "Okay, here's the scenario," and then I laid out the beginning of the book, or
No, that was the other. That was the other book I was reading at the same time.
Cut that. Yeah, well, that's why you shouldn't read multiple books at the same time.
I mean, but I can.
Yeah,
but you shouldn't.
But yeah, it's the amount of woe is me, self pity. Oh God, and it's like, I don't think that's realistic. I really don't. I'd have to ask a sample size of. Again, I'll probably ask my coworkers then. I'll be like, "Oh, you woke up as a dragon. Like, what would you do?" And I guarantee you, neither of them are going to spend the next several hours crying and whining.
Watch them both say that.
Damn, my sample size is ruined.
Dilettante, you don't think it captured the feeling of humans waking up as monsters and dealing with the fallout?
No, because it made themselves seem like monsters without actually acting like monsters. He kept whining about, "Oh, I'm a monster," but not seeing any monstrous ways. It was all about just how he looked. Which made me, as someone who actually likes to look at dragons, be like, "Well, what the fuck? I could not sympathize with this guy who hated how he was."
Okay, there's actually 2 points on my notes bullet list, rather than my outline, whatever, that have to deal with a lot of what you guys just said. So I'll go more in depth in the spoilery part, just in case it ruins something. But yeah, like, I feel like the book would have been better if it, rather than trying to chase the zombie genre, if it was the werewolf genre. So a bit more of I'm actually losing control and turning savage, and I'm having to fight it, right? I feel like that would have handled the I'm turning into a monster better than just, look what I look like now. I hate it. Also, the other thing was, like, what if they're, like, we've said already that a lot of the characters he finds later are very one-dimensional. They are this trope and only this trope. I was like, what if one of the characters he found was actually, like, super on board? Like, dude, guys, this is amazing. You don't understand how cool this is. And he just, like, was really good at doing everything dragon-related. Like, he became the best hunter and the best tracker and the best whatever because he just embraced it. Rather than, like, an entire group of, like, 8 people just bitching and moaning the whole time.
It's just
but that's a Walking Dead.
A little semi... a little... Yeah, that's actually true. Because, Dilettante, you watch Walking Dead, right?
I got to the end of the governor arc, and then I stopped.
Yeah, I got a little further than that, and then I stopped because that the show just evolved. The show devolved into people whining and complaining, sitting around bitching and moaning, and then zombies would show up to chase them into the next scene.
And then they bitch and moan about the zombies.
And then they bitch and moan about the zombies. Then they bitch and then they meet other people who also bitch and moan, and then they fight, and then a whole bunch of people are killed, and then zombies show up to chase the survivors to another scene. And, like, at that point, Walking Dead had kind of died for me. I was like, this is stupid.
Alright, so you both rank it very low in the dream fulfillment. Me, again, with no real experience in anything zombie related. Like, I haven't even seen The Walking Dead. Like, I just care that little. I thought it felt pretty dragony. Like, hey, this is actually palatable because they're at least they are dragons. They're walking on 4 legs. They have to use their mouths to interact with whatever. Although I was a little surprised at how scrappy some of these characters were with, like, building little nonsense doodads.
So it's the apocalypse. You can do anything in there.
Right, but, like, to be able to do that with your mouth and no thumbs after... How long has the apocalypse been? Like, I know they were counting days since he woke up, but, like, by the time he woke up, do we know how long it's been going on for?
I think
was it just weeks?
Months?
Was it months?
I feel like there was a throwaway line about it being months, but I can't fully remember.
Okay, I feel like some of the more scrappy characters adapted to how to use the new bodies a bit too fast. Maybe?
No, I mean, like, all right. Again, this is not something that can ever be proved, but, like, you wake up as a dragon tomorrow, and it's like, yeah, there will be some initial stumbling around and crashing into things, but I feel like you'd get the hang of it pretty fucking quick. I mean, it.
Right, I don't mean like the walking, running, jumping. I mean the jury rigging gadgets.
I mean, again, like, you're talking about, like, being able to use your new paws, your new hands. Like how
I guess
a struggle that would be. It would be a bit of a struggle, but I feel like you could get the hang of it pretty quick. Thing is like, I feel like any physical change to your body, if you were human and then became a dragon, your brain changed with it. It's not a human brain trapped inside of a dragon body. It's human memories, but it's still a dragon brain in a dragon body. And I feel like you'd adapt pretty fucking quick.
Yeah, okay. Maybe. So then do we have any other spoiler-free things you want to bring up to tell the listeners about, to warn them about, to be like, hey, if you like X, you'll like this? Or whatever, before we just go on to the rating.
If you watched the entirety of Walking Dead all the way until and then didn't get enough, and then watched all their stupid spin-offs like Fear of the Walking Dead and Run from the Walking Dead, then you'll love it.
Oh, nobody did. Their viewership dropped by 97%.
Yeah, well, because Walking Dead, like I said, they did 2 spin-offs. And they managed to accomplish what superhero movies did in several years, but they managed to do it in a year. They oversaturated. All it was zombies. And it's just not fun. It's not about the zombies anymore. It's about the human drama between characters. And then zombies show up as a MacGuffin to force characters out of their safety and into another scene where they're no longer feeling safe. I swear to God, the moment that things go well for the main characters of any zombie thing, zombies have to show up and destroy everything. And it's formulaic and it's annoying. And then when your audience starts slipping, you bring in a character that just murders several of the main characters as shock value, forgetting the fact that there are people out there who loved those characters, and once that character's dead, they don't want to watch anymore.
They did the Game of Thrones thing where it cut off too many people too fast.
I know you don't really care, and I'm not going to go super deep into it, but there's major bad guys throughout the series. Dilettante says he stopped after the governor. But the next bad guy was Negan, and Negan was this biker dude with a baseball bat named Lucille. And
I mean, just yes, no, they killed off too many characters.
Yeah,
too fast.
They lined up all the main characters, and then he just murdered several of them. And everyone was like, "What the fuck?" And viewership dropped sharply after that. I think what they were going for was that you like this character, right? You're going to watch because you want to know what happens to him? Ah, now he's dead. You're going to keep watching, right? And it's like, no.
No. Yeah, I guess some writers don't understand that people get attached to the characters and they have to make sure the character is likable.
Yeah.
Like, shit, what was it that we just did recently where I was like, this... Oh, it was the Bound in Scales, where the main character was so unlikable that I fucking hated it.
Yeah.
Make likable characters, people. Anyway. Alright, so, in that case, Dilettante. X out of 5 stars, and then would you live here?
1 out of 5, I would not live here. I am tired of the zombie apocalypse. Bring back the machines overthrowing humanity. I want to see a robot apocalypse next.
But the robots just act like zombies.
So Terminator, but with dragons?
Yes, I'm actually planning to write a book about that.
So Rain of Fire.
Rain of Fire. No, Rain of Fire was nothing like that.
1 out of 5, though. You hated it. Book was terrible.
Yeah. No, you underestimate the zombie fatigue.
Try it. So it was all just zombie fatigue.
Zombie fatigue, Walking Dead fatigue. Like, after I finished this, I got zero interest in any of the other books in this series.
So you will not be continuing the series.
I will not be continuing the series.
Okay, well, we can't talk about the ending because that is super mega spoilers, but I will warn you people who are using us to gauge if you want to give this book a try or not. The ending fucking sucks because it closes off nothing. You get no answers. You don't even get to really know how okay any of the characters are because it just suddenly just stops. And now here I have an epilogue from this other point of view, and you get to know nothing.
So like the Godfather ending?
I've never seen The Godfather. I don't know.
You don't need to have seen The Godfather to know the Godfather ending. They made fun of it in Family Guy, for fuck's sake. A character is in the middle of a conversation, someone pulls a gun, the screen goes black, and the show ends. Like, there's no resolution, it ends on a cliffhanger.
Wait, I guess you talking about Sopranos?
Oh, Sopranos, not Godfather.
Godfather is like a fantastic
It's the same
movie.
thing. It's fucking
no,
it's
it
all
ain't.
mafia shit.
Whatever. Mafia dragons, though.
That would be great.
That
I would have loved
would be
that
fantastic.
way more than zombies.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, point being is Dilettante can attest to this. Bantam never got there. The ending sucks. It closes off none of the threads. There are no answers given, and it's just like if he never wrote the sequel for whatever reason, like lost interest, lost funding, whatever, everything would completely fall apart. Like it's 100%. You will get my sequel.
Yeah, we know how well that turns out sometimes. Me and my brother were finishing watching Starship Troopers Roughnecks, and it ends with the bugs like planning a major offensive against Earth after like wiping out half of the cities. And apparently they had 2 more episodes planned, but then the studio just like, nope, you're done. Scrap the whole thing, and that's it. So I'll never be able to see the ending.
Seemed like Too Human. Rip Too Human. It's the game that needed the sequel and will never get it.
Yeah, it's because the game developers went nuts and attacked essentially their...
Yep. The point being is this book does not work on its own. It does not stand on its own. It needs the ones that come after it, which is very, very bad to do for a book 1 of a trilogy. Book 1 should always be stand-alone-able. But yeah, Bantam, I know you didn't finish the whole thing, but X out of 5 stars, and would you live here?
0 out of 5 stars, and no, I would not live here. It has nothing to do with the quality of the book. I don't want to live. So my ideal of a post-apocalyptic setting is like solar punk or like Horizon Zero Dawn, where the world can be a beautiful, wonderful, lively place with plants and animals and trees and fresh air. Because it's been so long since people all died off. I don't like the immediate after effect of post-apocalyptic, where it's a barren wasteland, and
so you don't want the world ended 30 days ago. You want the world ended 100 years ago.
I want to see nature reclaiming, what people built, and I don't want to struggle for food. I mean, even on the cover, it shows him wandering through a grocery store and just rotting food on the shelves and stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's not a fun existence. Scrounging to survive.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, I do realize that for as much as he was like dragging his feet trying to write the first few chapters and like padding things out, he then started skipping around a lot to where like we don't really get to see what state the world is in outside of the major cities they stop in. So like I have no idea how good is nature doing? Is nature coming back? Are all the animals dead too? What's going on?
Yeah, and anything that would affect, I feel like any sort of apocalyptic type thing that would affect all humans on the planet would also affect the animals in some way. Never. I mean, I have never mind. I won't get into it.
Most of zombie related things only ever affect humans for some reason.
Yeah.
All right, for my rating, 2.5 out of 5. Like, it definitely, if this was written with humans and it was just like a book about humans and a zombie apocalypse, it would be a 1 or a 0 out of 5. Because like that, I would have fucking hated that. Anything good in this is only because, hey, look, they're dragons. That's nice. But again, that's just me not liking the zombie genre. So, as far as would I live here, I don't know. Like, my gut reaction is no. But that's, again, because I don't like zombie post-apocalyptic stuff. However, I will admit that the concept of waking up, you've turned into the monster, and now deal with it, like, that's good. And I don't think we've covered anything else with that. I guess Lazy Scales is the closest thing to it. So, like, I guess no, I wouldn't live here just because I don't like zombie apocalypses. Alright, so we'll do the small break now, and then we'll come back and we'll spoil things out for you guys.
Woohoo!
And welcome back, everybody.
Woohoo!
Welcome back. I am going to come sit next to you in the audience stand, and I am going to pass out the popcorn while the two of them talk about the rest of the book that I didn't get to because I'm a failure.
Yeah, you are a failure, but also that just means you need to sit there, pay attention, don't sit there browsing Reddit while we're talking.
Browsing Reddit.
You're browsing something. but just sit there, listen, and then when we talk about like a plot point, you can be like, "Wait, what the fuck?" or whatever.
All right. I will.
You can spur the discussion on by asking questions.
I will lean back in my chair.
Yep. All right, Dilettan. Spoiler time. Is there anything burning in your mind that you need to just get out right now?
This thing went from Walking Dead to Resident Evil in like 10 seconds. Also, there's way too many fucking characters in this book. I could not keep track of like half of the people here.
I had trouble a little bit. Like I could keep their names straight. So when they said like, "Oh, Red is doing this," I'm like, "I know who that is," or Styx, or Alan, or whatever. Like I could keep the names straight. But then when the author tried to refer to them by like the color of their coat, I was like, "Wait, who's the brown one?" I don't remember. So names were good, descriptions were terrible.
Oh yeah, no, easily.
My only other gripe, which I should have mentioned before, is that like even on the cover you look and he's got a hoodie on. Like I don't know. Seeing a dragon wearing a hoodie, I was like, oh, this is an OC.
Dude, so I like him wearing the hoodie. I was really sad when they had to destroy it. But you know how I feel about dragons wearing clothes.
Yeah,
so the concept of the dragon walking around wearing a hoodie, I thought was adorable. Oof, burpee. The concept of a dragon walking around wearing a hoodie, I thought was adorable. There was one scene where he found some cans of food and like put a couple of them inside his hoodie pockets with his jaws or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know why, but that mental image I loved. I loved that, which is why I was loath to give the book such a low rating, 2.5 stars. That's entirely being dragged down by the fact that it's zombie post-apocalypse. Because a couple of the small behaviors they did really, like, I thought were really endearing. So, like, the author knows how to write from a non-human POV, at least from a non-human body. To, like, he brings up the tails a lot, which is good. He brings up the claws a lot, which is good, and the snouts and whatnot. Like, he actually, like, acknowledges these aspects. There was one book I read, tried to read a long time ago, like 3-4 years. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a lit RPG. The kids get kidnapped and put into a world, and the god of the world rewrites the world to function like a video game, so that the kids who came to save it can like know how to interact with things. Pretty weird. Point being is the main character makes a fox character, a kitsune, and never once after that point do we ever mention fur, tail, claws, snout. He might as well just be a human, and I fucking hate it.
The writing style where to me, and this could probably be entirely wrong, but to me it almost feels like when like they really want to write a book, but they know that the book itself won't do very well unless it has a hook. And so what better hook than a non-human protagonist? And so they spend like a couple pages describing all the non-humanness, and then they promptly forget the rest. They forget it for the rest of the book.
Yeah, they just want to put the monster on the cover.
Yeah, they want to put a monster on the cover. They want to, while you're getting engaged. Or maybe it's just a failing on the author's part where they go, well, he knows that it's a dragon because I told him it's a dragon, and now I don't need to tell him it's a dragon anymore.
But the point, yeah. So I agree with you completely. The point is, this author did a good job using the non-human body. So great, A+. That's why. Everything good about the book comes from that aspect. Everything bad comes from the fact that it's zombies. But yeah, the point being is, I liked him with the hoodie, and later on when they get to their little safe haven, they actually start getting like actual clothes that have been tailor made for them, and I was like, yes, dragon clothes. So happy.
You getting them tailor-made for them? Is there someone who just, like another dragon that just is really good at making clothes, or?
I think they programmed machines to do it for them because dragons without thumbs would not be able to, like, craft them, so. And there were definitely robots there, so I think they just programmed machines to make it for them.
Oh, okay. Machines like, well, this isn't the weirdest thing I've ever been asked, so.
But yeah, it's also an interesting aspect, like, in most sci-fi things with aliens and whatnot, every single alien fucking looks like it's human, right?
Yeah. Or looks human with like a
Romulans.
Little bit of bullshit strapped onto their face.
Yeah, like Klingons and Romulans and whatever. But then like even like elves and dwarves are basically just human. Or in Star Wars, I don't know the names of the fucking Star Wars races, but like everything looks human in Star Wars.
No, okay, listen.
The Tatooineans look like humans. The Coruscant people look like humans. The people from Andor look like humans.
You're stepping in dangerous territory here because they are humans. They colonized.
The Mandalorians look like humans.
They colonized. They're all the same race.
I don't care about the origin. I'm pretty sure they're not all.
And you're completely That's why they ignoring like the calamari or Mon Calamari and all the other alien races.
Right. The point there are a couple, but the point is every single main character is just a fucking human.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is, I understand it's to save on CGI or makeup or whatever, but it's fucking gross. And it's like, I want more sci-fi settings to include non-human body shapes. Like, the minimum for technologically advanced societies is you need to have some way to interact with tools, which is hands, right? Fingers and thumbs. So, like, not everything needs to look human. They can be basically wolfmen or cat people or, like, bipedal dragons or lizardmen or whatever. That's fine, but that's still a bipedal shape. I want to see more things like nagas, things like tars, things like slug people that have tentacles, or like flat out four-legged wolves that are psychic and so they can interact with tools with their brains. Like, the minimum is some way to interact with the tool, and then after that just fucking go crazy. That tangent kind of bleeds it's going to circle back now into my point being that since this society in this book was human all the way to develop all this technology, and then like snap of a finger, boom, they all turn into these monster things. It's like they can keep a society going because the tools are already made, and they can. You don't need thumbs to type on a keyboard. Bantam, Hunt and Pecker. So you can program the machines to continue to make tools that fit your body now that they've already been made. Like, you no longer, the need for thumbs is gone. So here's a really unique time when we can have a completely quadrupedal society and it's still technologically advanced. I don't, it's just fun to point out.
Diletan, did you hear that racist remark that Ray made about a bird being a hunt and pecker?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah, like what the fuck, Ray? I never
literally that's how you type.
When I was a kid and they taught us how to type, with the QWERTY and hands on whatever, I fucking hated it, and I could type really fucking fast with two fingers.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you are a pecker.
Yeah.
How dare you, racist?
I wasn't making.
No, I'm a QWERTY guy, and I will never go back.
Yeah, I can't do that shit. I have to. And not only that, but I also have to stare at the keyboard while I type, and then I look up and see if I made any mistakes.
Yeah, he is a boomer.
I am a boomer.
But yeah, it was just fun. The thought that like, hey, we can have a four-legged society because the tools have already been made. They don't need hands anymore. Heck yeah. But yeah, that was a weird tangent. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I know Dylan doesn't agree with me completely on the dragons wearing clothes front. He's against it.
I mean, it seems like unnecessary extra steps. They got natural clothes. It's called scales.
I mean, okay, but these guys didn't have scales. These guys were guys were fluffy. They were very mammalian. They were like when they got to the vet and to the scientist later. They were much closer to, I think, like lions was the closest thing. So like their bits would be external. And in fact, a lot of the characters early on were trying to remain what's the word, decent?
Yeah.
Whatever. Like they would rip fabrics and then tie it around their waist to try to cover their haunches because they wanted to like cover themselves up.
Yeah, I mean that would lend toward their bits are external.
That streaky says so much mane.
Yeah, they had. I liked the hair. I liked the manes that they had. But
Ray knows that I am a reptiles should never ever have breasts and should never have hair supremacist. However, dragons are the exception.
But these were fuzzy dragons.
Yeah.
So they need to have hair. I mean,
and I, like I said, like if I if I saw this book on the shelf in the store, I'd be like, hey, I might actually like this book because that dragon is adorable as fuck.
He is. They also do a lot of adorable things in the book too.
But then, reading the book, I'd be very upset.
I feel like if you jumped forward and started part 2, you might enjoy it if you just get part 1. But I don't know. We'll see if you ever give it another try. I was going to ask you guys, if you woke up with no memory, because localized amnesia, you woke up with no memory, you knew you used to be human, but now you're this draconic-looking monster thing that you can't find anybody around, you post-apocalyptic zombie wasteland, right? Do you think you would be really concerned with your decency?
No. It's the apocalypse. Nobody... I don't know why everybody seems to try to cling on to like how things used to be and try to preserve it. Like, the world's fucking gone. Do whatever the hell you want.
Okay.
Who's going to stop you?
All right, so Dilettant's going full Mad Max even then the apocalypse comes.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
and I am the opposite. If I knew I used to be human, and, obviously you're not going to, strip naked and walk outside, and I suddenly woke up as a different creature and what I determined to be my dick and balls were just hanging out, I'd probably try to cover them. I would be embarrassed. Unless if I spent several days wandering around and did not see a single other living thing, then sure, I'd probably just not care. But the moment I found something else, I'd be like, oh, time to cover those.
Yeah. The main character was never wearing pants until he ran into the first other person, Samantha. And she had rigged I'm going to call it a skirt because you can't really wear pants in a four-legged form. And that's when he suddenly got very self-conscious about oh, right, my rump is just out here in the open.
If a dragon could wear pants, would it wear it like this or like this?
It would wear it like a fucking horse skirt, whatever. The night horse skirt, whatever that was called. Unless they were tailor-made. Then they could probably wear them like actual pants. But as far as that, would it wear it like this on just the back half, or this on
all
the
four limbs?
Lower half? All four limbs, the lower half. It would be the back half. The point of pants is to cover up the genital and anal area for decency's sake. So it would basically be a dragon wearing booty shorts.
A big enough hole for the tail.
Basically, yeah. Or it'd be a loincloth, but rather than letting it dangle, it's tied back around to the underside of the tail, because again, the whole point would be just to cover those bits for civilized decency.
Yeah. Oh god, the first thing that popped in my mind was those little gems you could put on your cat's tail to cover their anus.
The little tools that you slide down the tail. It would be like that.
That would kind of be the general basic form of it, yeah. Anyway, that was just 20 minutes on Ray ranting on how much he likes dragons wearing clothes, and this book had it, so hooray.
I don't mind dragons wearing clothes. I don't mind it. I don't prefer it. I like the Dilettante. It's just Dilettante is unashamedly proud to be naked.
Yeah. Dilettante, do you keep notes when you read it, or am I just going to be going through my list and you just jump in when you have something?
No, I didn't do any notes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was too busy comparing it to The Walking Dead.
Were you doing the meme of the guy sitting up pointing when it's like, oh, I know that, right?
I did that so many times. Yes.
Yeah. Hey, this is episode 35.
I could recognize the arcs.
I'm going to put this in the audience stand for...
Yeah, I had to respond to Tristan so fast. All right, my minor nitpick I have about the start of this book, the trope, the first trope of many, the trope where you see yourself in the mirror and you scream at your own reflection. I hate that.
Yeah, shit. I don't think that's realistic, because you're still sentient, you're still aware. I believe that any dragon would pass the look in the mirror and realize, oh my god, that's me. And I don't think you would scream. The thing is you wake up, you already can tell something's wrong. I'm walking on four legs, for crying out loud, right? Something is wrong. I'm no longer human. And then you find a reflective surface to look in. You're
prepared for it. You're primed. You're not going to suddenly scream. You might stare at yourself in silent horror because like that's what I turn into. But you wouldn't like scare yourself like, oh my god,
nah.
right? Because you're prepared for it. Even if I'm walking down a hallway and then I pass by like an offshoot hall, but like that was a mirror to it. Like even if I would be caught off guard by my reflection, I wouldn't jump back screaming and tripping over my own tail and stuff. I think I would just be like at most be like a oh, like jump scared, like But like
followed immediately by like looking closer,
by edging forward, turning head this way, turning that way, touching your chin, right? So like I just want to attack the author on this, and like if anybody else wants to write a similar kind of setting, it's like here's a mirror, I see it, I start screaming, backing away from my own horrible reflection, tripping over my tail, making noise, stumbling over things. So like I don't like that. I feel like it's much better if it's more of a slow burning panic. You see yourself, you freeze, take a step forward, turn your head, take another step forward, touch yourself, and like a oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, kind of like a slow burning panic, right?
Yeah, I believe that would be more realistic, but it's the cartoon effect of it's the Looney Tunes shit of you see yourself in the mirror with something weird and you just jump up in the air, float backwards a little bit, screaming, and then zip out of the room. And it's like that's unrealistic. That's cartoon shit.
It's one of the cliches he pulled from his bag of many cliches he had to use.
Yeah, it was the first cliche of many to come. oh shit! I should have put this at the beginning. I should have read through my list again before recording so I could remember. Something about his writing style that I noticed, and it's here's my fourth point on the list because this is when I noticed it, I guess, in the book. He keeps mentioning things like events, things that occur, whatever, as if they had already happened. Like he doesn't bother explaining things. The example I have here is when he's in the I think it's the stadium building, and he's trying to look around for stuff. The door opens, mops and brooms fall to the floor. The sound putting me on edge, and the anxiety that he felt when the dog came out. Right? And I just sat there thinking, like, wait, what dog? Like, it mentioned the dog coming out as if he had already said a dog came charging out of the closet or whatever. I don't know how best to explain that. It was just like the event of the dog coming out of the door of the room, whatever, was so nonchalantly mentioned that it felt like I missed a line where it said, and a dog came running out, which terrified the shit out of me, right? It was just a nuance of the way he writes stuff, and it happens throughout the whole book. Will it be like, hey, by the way, this thing happened. I'm like, wait, you should have spent more time on that. What?
To me, it kind of reads like he didn't have a proper editor, because I do that sometimes in my writing. There were times where I would write something and then pass it off to Ray and be like, hey, can you read this over? And Ray would come back with like, hey, this line here doesn't really seem connected to anything. Maybe a couple sentences before it, maybe a lead up to that. And I'm like, oh shit, you're right. Because when you're writing, like those who write a lot, the best thing to do is to just keep writing. Just get everything down and then go back and fix it. And
yeah, it's easier to fix than to create. So when you do your rough draft, the point is to just vomit out words and just get it on the page.
And then maybe he edited it himself. Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just it's a lesson you need to learn. But it feels like
he definitely could have used another editorial pass, because I actually highlighted a bunch of like wrong words or misspellings or bad grammar when I found them.
Oh, really?
Like at one point, way later on, he says that he had like a deer in headlights moment, but it was a DEAR in headlights moment.
Yes, it's because the little red squiggles didn't appear.
Yeah,
when you're writing it, you're like, "Wow, look at that! No red squiggles. Print."
But that happened a lot, and I started highlighting in my book with orange highlighter, and then like adding a custom note with the correct word, like if I was actually editing it. So hey, all you wannabe authors out there, hire me to edit your books for you. But yeah, reading through my list. Okay, so after he meets his little ragtag crew, right? You got Alan, the police officer, who at the beginning I was like, I swear to God, if they go for the corrupt cop, I'm gonna kill someone. Because that's a trope that I'm fucking sick and tired of. That and the cowardly politician, I'm sick of those tropes. I understand you people don't like politicians and police officers, but come on. I think it's overdone.
We need more police officers like Miles Morales' dad from the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, more good police officers. Like, let's be hopeful.
Yeah, let's
if the whole point of Alan was he's supposed to be power hungry and clings to any minor sense of authority he can possibly have, make him something below a cop. Make him a mall security guard, and he's bitter because he never was able to get into the police academy. He
didn't pass the mental exam. The fucking I forget what they have to pass, but it's basically a mental aptitude test, whether or not you're crazy.
But yeah, so we get a little ragtag group of people. The scrappy survivor, the vet. I think it's funny they got a vet rather than a doctor. That was hilarious.
Well, they always say that if you were ever kidnapped by aliens or find yourself on an alien planet and you're injured, look for a vet, not a doctor, because a vet is more specialized in general medicine for all types of animals.
Yeah, but I had the thought, like, imagine I'm self-inserting myself now, because a Ray-type character, but really it would just be like, I guess, anotherkin, or a furry, or something. Somebody who has always been amazed with not being human, right? Because while everybody is like, oh, woe is me, we woke up as monsters, and we gotta try our damnedest to hold on to every last shred of humanity, this guy's just like, what are you guys talking about? This is amazing. And he's like, walking on the tops of cars and buildings, and like, able to make these jumps that no one else can make, and the best hunter, the best tracker, he's super stealthy and all that, right? Like, I feel like that would have been a good character type to have in there. Right?
Yeah.
Or was that just me?
No, it would be.
Still a 10? Am I crazy?
You are crazy, but for different
reasons.
Because
that's not a cliche, so you wouldn't have used it.
Exactly, it would have been a fresh take on it. Like, hey, here's somebody who is able to fit into this new skin like so easy, and it's like, this is amazing.
Yeah, so you can't have that. That is not cliche enough. Couldn't have used it. Wouldn't have fit. Not according to this author.
Yeah. Alduin?
So, like, Alduin, but in this world setting. Alduin was a god of death in Skyrim. I don't think that really applies.
I'm wondering if there's another Alduin from like another setting.
No, Alduin's, I think, it's like solely Skyrim, unless it's named after some mythology I don't know about.
Yeah, and then so the other thought I had early on go into more in depth now. I guess adding a bit of a werewolf twist to it rather than going full on zombie, because like a whole lot of times the main character quote struggles with his humanity, where he has he refuses to let himself be attracted to Sarah, basically, even though I feel like they're totally being set up to be boyfriend girlfriend later on. But like every time he thinks that he might like her, he's like, nope, can't think that way. We're supposed to be humans, damn it. Like, he's not allowing himself to ever fall for somebody who doesn't look like a human, right?
Which is dumb as fuck.
That is dumb as fuck, because that's like, we can't give into the animalistic side. We'll not be able to pair off unless we can look like humans again, which I thought was the dumbest fucking take ever. Like, later on, who is it? It's Styx and Red that start like getting all lovey-dovey with each other, right?
I think so. Tired gears are sparking right now.
Yeah, so like Styx and Red again all lovey-dovey when they're in the safe haven, fucking Arcadia. And he's like put off by it because how can they be into each other like that? Don't they understand that they're monsters? Like, no, really, that's a thought that goes through his head several times. And it's annoying as fuck.
I can't relate as a certified monster fucker.
I know, right? Point being, the author tries to have the main character LJ struggle with his humanity several times. There are times where he's like, he has the instinct to attack somebody because frankly they deserve it, but the fact that he wants to attack somebody and like claw them, he's like, no, that's the monster talking. Or the fact that he might start to feel attracted to somebody, he's like, no, that's the monster talking, and a whole bunch of that bullshit, right? And it's like, if you wanted to go that route, I feel like he should have done it more like werewolfy, where like whenever he started having like one of his flashbacks, so every time they step into a stockade, he starts having flashbacks and he starts having panic attacks. It's like, what if instead of having panic attacks, he started having like full on werewolf moments where he starts like breathing heavily and like snarling and growling, and like the urge to attack somebody starts getting more stronger and stronger, and he's got to like actually struggle to keep it under control. Which I had that thought early on, but like shockingly, I feel like that would have been good foreshadowing also for the fact that it turns out he's been bitten later on.
Oh, then you could do the other cliche that everybody hates about zombie movies, where someone gets bitten and hides it from the group.
Oh no, they did that. They did that.
Yeah, Nathan already did that. In the RV.
There's a character Nathan who, when they get to the RV after a little scrap, he locks himself in the bathroom and refuses to talk to anybody because they used him as bait or something, or whatever. And then the vet is giving everybody a checkup, and he refuses to get looked over. And it turns out, yeah, he had a bite, and he was starting to turn, and he takes someone as hostage. He's like, "Give me supplies, or I'm gonna bite them, and they'll turn into a monster too."
Okay, so I'm gonna change my review of this book to a -1 out of 5, because that is the most infuriating, stupid fucking cliche I've ever in every single piece of zombie-ish media. And it's like the proper response if you get bit by a zombie is to just tell everybody, hey, I got bitten, sorry, I'm going to go. Or, give me a gun with 1 bullet, I'm going to go around the corner. Like, instead of, oh no, I'm going to hide out here and no one will ever know because I'm clearly the main character and I'm not going to get infected. It's going to go away. And it's like, no, you're going to turn, you fucking piece of shit. You fucked up. Once you get bitten...
Okay. You two who have dealt with a lot more zombie-type trope-ish things than me, I had an idea. While I was reading this, I had an idea, like, what if this character... I'm about to tell you, okay? But what if this character did this? Tell me how stupid that sounds, since you have more experience with this genre, okay? I had a thought, like, if we had the otherkin / furry / werewolf fan, wolf girl from high school, some character that would embrace it, like, hey, I wake up as this monster, but this is cool as fuck being human, and they become like the greatest tracker, the greatest hunter. That character, if that character existed in this, and then they got into a scrape, and he's kicking butt, he's like, not really like ninja kicking, but because he's embraced the change, he has much better control of his body, and so he becomes like the best fighter. So he's fighting off all these Wendigos. He's helping everybody escape. They get to the RV and they drive off, and then they find out, like, oh no, like, they look at him, they see he's been bitten. He's looking at his, like, the bite on his lips, like, oh, that can't be good. So it's the character got bit, but everybody knows about it, and they don't put him down per se. They just keep an eye on him, because, like, when he starts to turn, we're gonna have to figure out what to do, because we can't kill one of our friends, right? But the point being is that even though he's been bitten, because he's embraced the change, it turns out the bite doesn't affect him. Like, he's immune to the going crazy bite effect.
That would be unique. It would. That's not something that's ever been.
But does that, like, kind of destroy the whole believability or stability of the world, because you're breaking the rule of you get bit, you turn feral?
No, I mean, well, first of all, it's a magical transformation. Whereas, like you were human, you turned into a let's just say werewolf, and then you're kicking ass, and then you get bit by the savage werewolves that will make you lose whatever semblance of humanity you have left. But because you embraced it so much, it doesn't affect you. That is believable, and that is unique, and I would accept that whole cloth. I've never seen that. I mean, there isn't really a parallel for human zombie things, because human zombie media, the zombies are rotting and they're undead. Like, the human died, and the way it's explained in The Walking Dead is once your brain dies, like once your heart stops, you die, your brain starts back up, and your brain basically pilots a rotting corpse that just acts on instinct. There's nothing left in your there's nothing left, so there's nothing to embrace because you're dead. But, the thing with Walking Dead is getting bitten by a zombie doesn't turn you into a zombie. It infects you to the point where it starts to kill you. And once your body dies, then it kickstarts itself back up and you become a zombie. So characters in The Walking Dead do get bitten, and they are able to cure it or at least treat it, and they can live a lot longer. The thing about Walking Dead is you don't want to die, because the moment you're killed, the moment you actually, your heart stops, that's when the transformation takes effect. But I think if you use the unique instance of, okay, well, they've turned into monsters or animals or whatever, and someone just is really digging it, like, yeah, this is great, and they get bitten and nothing happens because their brain has already acclimated to the situation they're in, I think that would be neat. I'd have liked that.
Yeah. Dillaton, you back? He is not. He said he had to BRB. It's very sad. He won't get to put any input on my character idea.
But yeah, that I like I said, that would be a unique thing. Is that when you're doing zombie stuff, you really want to fucking just avoid cliches, because everyone's fucking done it. Like,
the problem is Walking Dead has introduced so many new cliches that they just it's done like everything at this point. There's no such thing as cliche.
The only compliment that I can really give Walking Dead is that because it was based on a graphic novel, everyone was like, well, I already know how the whole story's going to work out. No, you don't, because they completely changed it. It's kind of like a what-if TV series, because I remember when I first started watching The Walking Dead, I went out and bought the first mega volume of The Walking Dead graphic novel, and I'm like, wait, who's that? Why is this guy still alive? He's supposed to die in chapter 1. What? They completely had to change it. And I remember that eventually the writers got taken hostage, not literally, by the fans, because they introduced, what's his name, Daryl? Or
Not important, this isn't a Walking Dead review.
Whatever.
I mean, it is a Walking Dead book.
It is. Dillaton, before you left, did you hear my idea? Can you comment on it?
You're talking about the Daryl wannabe that got bit, and they were saying how it was going to go around. But
his concept is that someone who gets transformed in this book embraces the change so well, they love what has happened to their body, that they get bitten and nothing happens to them, because they are essentially mentally immune to the effects, because they already love what's happening to their body and they've accepted it entirely. Like, how would you like that as a concept?
It would be a nice change of pace from what I saw, from what I was dealing with in the book.
It's an anti-cliche, and I love anti-cliches.
The character of being this, like, Wendigo killing badass, though, that's been done all to hell. Well, every group has that one.
Yeah, I guess.
So it just seems like it's just a badass character with a different set of skin.
Yeah.
And abilities.
Sadly, though, my character concept of somebody who gets bit and doesn't go savage, and like, oh, that's really amazing. Well, it doesn't work in this book, because it turns out the main character has been bit and doesn't go savage. Just no one knows about it until way later.
And he's a pussy.
He is a pussy. God, I hated how much of a pussy he was. Right, all right, so, all right, this next thing I'm going to talk about, I feel like could get me in trouble, so I just want everyone to understand that... Shit, how do I say this without being really, really weird?
You know what? Asks why the main character is a pussy.
He's just a coward who refuses to actually fight. Like, he ends up killing Nathan, the guy who hid his bite from the group, right? He ends up killing Nathan, and he has like an entire breakdown, like, oh my god, I killed somebody. But it's like, yeah, to save other people. He literally was going to go savage.
And Tracy Nix, throughout the entire book, he is going on about, oh, woe is me, I am a monster, how can this happen to me?
How can this happen to me?
I'm surrounded by monsters, we gotta preserve our humanity or else turn into monsters.
Fuck that shit.
A monster pussy. Yeah, he is a monster pussy.
Embrace the monster. Dude, I want to find a good werewolf book, but I'm scared it's going to all be just shifted nonsense. Where they're just human for 95% of it.
Of course.
But, so, okay, I'm just going to come on and say it, but everybody, give me the benefit of the doubt that I'm not sexist. There were a lot of freaking women in this book.
Well, they needed to be there to tempt the main character.
Well, they didn't, though.
Tracy agrees that it's...
Okay. It's like, so, the only male characters were the main character, Nathan, who gets killed off super early on, and Alan. Am I missing anyone, Dillaton? Oh, I guess Red. Red's also a dude.
Red dude?
Yeah, Red is, because that's why he was getting really into Styx.
Oh.
Yeah, the trade is Nathan. Just Nyx. But it just felt like there were so many female characters, which I feel like would have been better if they were going for a lion pride scenario. Like, after Nathan gets killed off, Red has already shown himself to be very, not subservient, but very, I don't know. He was very timid, when he first met, LJ, the main character, he like would lower his head and looks away and doesn't make eye contact. He's already very, very timid and non-confrontational. So he would not have gone for the spot of like alpha of the group or pack leader or whatever you want to call it. But like after LJ meets Alan, if they just had like this instinct to just keep like butting heads and arguing because they're both like trying to be the alpha male or whatever, because they went for a whole lion pride mentality, I think that would have been cool. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it would have been turned out a bit incelly. I don't know.
Now that you pointed out, I feel like LJ is an incel because he doesn't want to create little monsters.
Little baby monsters would be cute, though. We actually see a couple kids when they get to Arcadia, and they are adorable. Oh, Runner. Yeah, Runner. Okay. But, like, I remember having the thought, like, there's a lot of female characters, especially after they killed off Nathan. Because Red was barely ever mentioned, and it was just Alan and LJ. And so if they had a vying for...
Wait, LJ?
For top dog spot, LJ, the main character.
So he named the main character after himself? It's a self-insert?
No. Oh my god.
LJ Davies is the author. Did he self-insert his Dragon OC?
Oh my god. Oh, that didn't even like occur to me.
As soon as you said because LJ, I was like,
so the thing is, unlike Aldous, the main character does not feel like a self-insert. So it's like he did it correctly, right? He didn't make the main character was not insufferable.
Don't you mean Aldous?
Aldous. Yeah, but I didn't even notice. Holy shit.
Thing is I've read enough bad fan fiction and listened to a podcast where they make fun of bad fan fiction enough to recognize when a character is a self-insert.
Okay, so shit, what was I saying? I got derailed. Oh my god.
I'm sorry. I just that was like a spike.
A whole yeah.
You're talking about there being a lot of female
characters. Yeah, there's a whole lot of even the main character was one. No, I'm just kidding. No, it felt weird. And the thing is, it's like, this is why I need to make sure I don't sound sexist, because women are great, okay? And they definitely deserve more representation. They deserve to have a lot of badass characters. They deserve more Aloys. They deserve more Ridleys. They deserve more whatever, right? But I feel, and it could just be the media that I'm drawn to. It could just be random chance. But a lot of what I've read recently feels like it's a whole lot of female main characters, a whole lot of badass females, and a whole lot of all the guys are supporting cast and they're useless in some way or another. And like, even though the main character in this was a dude, the fact that all the cool people were female, you know, the vet was female, the scrappy survivor was female, and like every single main character was either LJ was a pussy, Alan was a corrupt cop that was like borderline evil, Nathan was a traitor, and then Red was just timid, quiet dude in the background. It's like,
now Nathan was a selfish asshole. Cliche. Yeah. You gotta keep cliches in line here.
Whatever. The point is like, is anybody else noticing that like the guys are not getting to be good characters anymore?
Yeah.
And then we get fucking Aldous, the most insufferable character in the world.
I mean, I liked him a hell of a lot more than I liked the fucking main character for this book.
Actually, no, I prefer this character a whole lot more than Aldous.
You either get someone super overpowered or someone so cowardly they don't want to do anything.
Yeah, I'd rather the overpowered character. If I were forced to choose one of those two, I would rather the overpowered, confident character than the entire time.
I guess it depends. But yeah,
if I got to stay in a room with him,
I would end up killing LJ immediately.
I think the problem I had with Aldous being overpowered is because he was human, and how dare he be stronger than dragons? Like, I hate the trope of humans are stronger than dragons. Like, the whole, it was a lot of 80s and 90s fantasy art where there's the wizard and then the dragon is like in chains or whatever. Like, whatever,
yeah, that's true.
Right? I hate that. That's one of the main reasons why I hated All Juice. Not because he was overpowered, because I can't enjoy overpowered characters, but just he himself was just an insufferable incel. But anyway, enough about that. Enough about me complaining about the male to female ratio in this book. I just feel like with the ratio, they should have totally gone for a whole Lion Sprite theme and had Alan and LJ butting heads more often. But that wouldn't really work with LJ being the pussy that he is in this.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of was. Alan was like the self-proclaimed leader.
Well, the thing is, Alan was butting heads with Sammy all the time. Well, I don't know. I'm just little changes that I would have made, and I don't know if that would have been a better book or not. What did you think about the Reverend scene, Dillaton?
It was straight up the who was the guy's name with the baseball bat in
Negan.
Walking Dead? Pretty much, it was just copy paste of Negan. Like that whole thing was the Negan arc.
If you say so, I don't know the Negan arc, but yeah, just the Bantam. They find in Portland, Oregon. They find basically a cult of these monsters that are still sapient. They find a cult that I don't even know how to explain the cult behavior. They wanted to. Some of these monsters have had tags on their ear or missing ears because they tore the tags out, and that was because when the quote disease was starting, the people who showed symptoms were taken away and tagged and monitored in prison or whatever until everything went to shit. So a lot of these people in this cult were escaped from one of these stockades, and so they had tags that they were then torn out, and so they wanted to tag everybody else because. Like, it was like a rite of passage or something. It was like the faithful survived. I don't even fucking know. The faithful survived while the Lord condemned the rest as monsters. That's why they lost their minds and we got to keep ours. And so it was just weird. It was crazy. It was like, it felt over the top.
Yeah,
crazy, but apparently it was
like
supposed to.
Like a cult of personality.
Yeah.
It again. Walking Dead parallels, you've got the Negan group who are basically dogmatic.
So apparently that was the Negan episode.
Basically dogmatic. They believe this and that's it. And then you have the main characters who are the scrappy, collection of, good guys who are just trying to survive. And because the way they're surviving is not the right way, the Negan group is like, no, we're going to fucking... I mean, from what you've described, it sounds like it could be a Negan character, yeah.
But yeah, I guess I just want to say that the Reverend, I kind of liked the Reverend a little bit, even though he was batshit crazy and like completely twisted, because he was a Reverend. I personally, I know it's a trope, but I like religious characters, whether they're good or evil. I enjoy the badass like warrior priest from like some anime shows. I enjoy the corrupt pope, basically, like the cardinal or whatever from Rise of the Shield Hero. You remember him, Bantam?
Yeah.
Like, I love that stuff. So the fact that there was actually a cult that was headed by a reverend, I thought was pretty cool. I didn't realize it was a trope, but there we go.
You gotta have a post-apocalyptic cults. That's one of the staples.
Yeah,
you gotta have someone.
I did think it was funny how he was
the cause of the apocalypse in like every story.
Yeah, but I did think it was really weird how he was like the faithful survived while the Lord condemned the rest to become mindless monsters. And I was like, right, usually in a rapture type scenario, the faithful are like taken away and the wicked are left behind. So it's like good old rapture logic. You guys are the wicked ones, but no, you're twisting the story now to make sure that you are the faithful good guys. Because
that's what they all do.
You couldn't possibly be the bad guys. What? Are we the baddies?
We got skulls on our hats. Are we the baddies?
Well, that's good. That's because skulls are cool.
Yeah, it basically, this book does have a lot of problems. It and you said this is one of his later books?
Well, so this is the first in a new series, but it's I think the sixth book he's written, so he has experience under his belt.
So, I mean, yeah, this is going to sound really mean, and I don't mean for it to sound mean to whoever, feels attacked by it, but anybody can write a fucking book. It takes a lot of perseverance to force yourself to sit there and write, but way back in the day, again, I'm not trying to sound mean, But way back in the day, in order to get a book out on a shelf in like Barnes and Noble, you had to be competent. Like you had a team of people looking over your book and requesting changes to make it marketable. And
the thing is, now to get a book in Barnes and Noble, you have to be backed. You have to be rich already.
Well, yeah, but point being is that anybody can make a book now and just throw it up on Amazon.
But it won't be at
Kindle,
Barnes and Noble.
And it's like, there needs to be maybe like some extra editing steps,
quality
control, because
that's why you people listening who want to write books, hire me to edit it.
I told Ray, I was like, one of the big problems that I'm having on this podcast is that every book is starting to bleed together. Like sometimes I go, sometimes I go to think of an example of something, like I'll be like, oh yeah, like in the book when, and then I'm like, wait, no, that didn't happen in this book. That was the other book. And
that's you'll get better. You just need more experience.
We need more diversity. The only problem is the first diverse thing we get in a while. It's this bag of cliches.
Someone bought a bag of zombie cliches and then sprinkled it over a book and then slapped a dragon paint scheme on it.
No, they threw the book in the bag of cliches, shook it around, and then pulled it out and slapped it on Amazon.
They looked for a list of cliches to write a zombie story, and they took the list and it's like, yeah, this is good. They didn't bother changing anything.
They took.
It's like someone writing with a thesaurus.
They took somebody else's book report and they just put their name on it.
Well, no, I was gonna say they looked at a list of suggestions for a zombie apocalypse book
and took it as gospel.
I need to make sure every one of these elements is in here. Someone got bitten and is hiding it from the group. Someone who used to be someone of authority who wants to maintain their role of authority. Group of cult members who are like, no, we must embrace it, because that happened too in Walking Dead. There were people who thought that being a zombie was like some sort of religious gift.
Yeah, they found the list of cliches and they missed the line where it says, choose no more than 3. But then, halfway, 2/3 of the way through the book, Dilettante said, I don't know Resident Evil, but Dilettante says it turns from Walking Dead to Resident Evil.
So, Bantam, what happens is, I'm kind of fuzzy on Arcadia's details, but they somehow get into this technological bunker full of robot soldiers that are experimenting on the Wendigos using mind control chips, held by an AI who was
Umbrella?
named... Not Umbrella.
Atlas.
Atlas.
Yeah, no, that is Resident Evil as fuck, right?
Okay.
Well, Resident Evil always follows the same formula. It starts off with a gritty, ooh, zombies, and then turns into, no, it's actually like a shadow government fucking organization with super advanced technology deep underground that is experimenting with all this virus shit. Like,
yeah, so when what they called it a disease, a curse or whatever, it was the curse disease, CURS, was the curse disease that turned everyone into these monsters. When they were trying to keep it under control, the group that was in charge of the OMDC or whatever, I don't remember what it stands for, set up these stockades where they were just basically taking people that were turning and like locking them away, right? Super mega enforced quarantine, right? A group broke away from the OMDC because they didn't like how they were doing things, and they called themselves Hades. Human anomaly detection and something. Something. What?
Oh,
it's just like the concept of imagine that you're with a group of like 20 friends, and then you're like, I don't like this group, and you peel off with like 3 friends, and the first thing you do when you get away is, all right, we got to come up with a cool name for ourselves. Like, What are we gonna do? We're gonna do this. All right, let's find a way to make an acronym out of it. It's so stupid. There's more important things. There's more important things to fucking worry about than what your cool little group is gonna be called.
So the group Hades sets up a safe haven called Arcadia, and they start broadcasting it on all the radios. Beginning of the book, it's the message on loop, like, any survivors, come to Arcadia, we have food, water, supplies, blah, 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 right? So they get there, and they're like, yay, safe haven, there's technology, and they can take showers, and this is when they get the dragon clothes. But it turns out it was all a lie. Turns out that Hades set up this facility to lure people to them because then they wanted to run experiments on them. They wanted to try to. They're the group that wants to embrace the change in a completely unethical, no morals way.
Again, here's another cliche that isn't really a cliche in the sense where it's in like whatever. Actually it is. It was also in Walking Dead, but if you find yourself in a zombie apocalypse scenario where you're wandering around and then you somehow get a radio working and you hear someone going, "All survivors, we have a safe haven here. Come to us." Do not fucking go. Because even if it's real, every bad actor in the fucking vicinity is also going to go there. You don't advertise. You don't advertise that you are safe and everyone is welcome, because then you're going to attract all the fucking scum in the area. Or it's a fucking trap, and they're going to kill and eat you because they're cannibals.
So you just need to live out in the wild for the rest of your life?
That's literally what it is.
That's the safest way.
The amount of times that the group of survivors in Walking Dead had it perfect, but then, like, for 2 whole seasons, they heard a radio signal from some place called Arcadia. Not even joking. And they kept we got to go there. It's a gated community, and they protect it with turrets and guns and soldiers, and it's perfect. And then they get there, and it turns out they're all cannibals. And it's like, God damn it, stop. You had a farmhouse in the middle. If it weren't for the fucking main character...
Was it actually called Arcadia? Oh my God. So in the book, when they were at Arcadia, one of the characters makes a joke, because some people are being taken away to be medically examined, but they don't come back, right? And that's what kind of starts the whole, what's actually going on here? And one of the characters jokes about, what if they're feeding them to us? What if cannibals?
So LJ Davies literally just watched The Walking Dead like 6 times in a row, and then just wrote a book and was like, but what if Carl was a dragon? Done. Right, print, done.
I don't even know what Hades' end goal is.
-2 out of 5.
The mind control was just to make the Wendigos sane again. Like, they weren't putting the chips inside the other people. They were just using them as lab rats to try to figure something out, but I can't remember what they're trying to figure out.
I don't remember either. I feel like they were giving the Wendigos this, like, hive mind mentality. Not even that. It was just for Atlas to use them as tools. Like, that was the whole end goal.
Yeah.
I think it was just to pacify the Wendigos, to make them more or less of a threat with using mind controlled chips, which apparently I guess they use the normal people as test subjects.
Yeah, I think so, because some of them I think were dissected. I think one had its brain taken out.
No, his brain was melted.
I need to correct myself real quick. It wasn't called Arcadia. It was called Terminus.
Okay, if it was called Arcadia, well, I don't. He still totally just watched the TV series and then copied it, but he changed the names at least. But yeah, I think Hades' goals is one of those questions that you still have at the end of the book. But yeah, so the entire time we're trying to figure out who exactly is LJ, because he's got no memories, and whatnot. We end the book still not knowing who he was. We at least know what his name was, his real name. We know that. We know that Rachel was his sister. We don't know why he survived the bite. We don't know who the Wendigo with the painted features are. We don't know what Hades is up to. We don't know who New Dawn is. We don't know what caused the change in the first place. Like, nothing got answered.
They just added more questions because then it was like ominous about Sammy's fate at the end.
Well, she's dead. Okay, she got.
No, they mentioned capturing one of the females.
I thought they mentioned the females they captured were some that were with child. So I thought it was like the 2 that didn't get out of the cage yet before the claw grabbed it or something. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Sammy will come back and she'll be an android like Atlas was. Dun 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 dun.
Nope, I'm calling her out now. Sammy is Rachel. And she's also immune for some fucking reason.
Dude,
she's gonna come back.
The main character's dream sequences were confusing the shit out of me because like he was dreaming about being in the stockade and trying to go find Rachel, but then like in the dream, Sammy was there talking to him. It was Sammy's voice that said, "I can help you, but it'll cost," right before he wakes up, right? So like I guess I was taking it too seriously and was like, wait, was Sammy the one that found him before? Is LJ actually Sammy's nephew this whole time, but they just didn't recognize each other because of amnesia or whatever? It's like, dude, you gotta get better at these dream sequences. You're making it way too confusing for the sake of being confusing.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, anyway, the point is like the entire book you have like 3 big questions like what caused the change? Who is LJ? And something else. And the book ends with 0 answers and 5 new questions.
Just like The Walking Dead.
The worst ending I've ever seen.
Don't worry, this won't be too much of a tangent, but at the end of the very first season of The Walking Dead, their objective is to get to a CDC compound to see because they think that the CDC has developed a cure. And they get to the compound and there's one lone scientist in there, and he leans in at the very last episode of the season finale. He leans in and whispers something to Rick, the main character. And Rick looks horrified. And then it goes to credits. And they don't actually explain what that is till like 3 seasons later. By the time the audience...
No, it's at the end of season
it wasn't
2, 16 episodes
maybe. But it felt like a really fucking long time. And the secret is that everybody's already infected. Everybody who is going to die will become a zombie, whether you're bitten or not. It's an airborne virus, and everyone's infected. And it's like, by the time they revealed that, I was like, I completely forgot that was a thing. Like, you should have fucking answered that at the beginning of the next season.
Yeah, I think they're figuring out that this wasn't a disease. This was a type of radiation that caused everybody to change, and that's why none of the biological protections and hazmat suits ever worked. So everyone's infected. But like when you transform, 99% chance that you just go crazy. You don't get to keep your brain like at all ever. Bite or no bite.
So it's a mix of The Walking Dead and I Am Legend.
I guess.
With a little bit of Resident Evil thrown in there.
All the survivors were the 1% that managed to keep their brains. And a lot of time, all the doctors and scientists and the vets even like, this doesn't make sense. Our skulls are too small. We shouldn't be able to have this level of brain function. The bee's wings are too small to let it fly. But yeah, terrible ending. The ending scene before the last chapter ends with one of the characters basically blowing a bomb up that they were holding. So just big explosion. And the shockwave knocks the main character back, and he screams the name of the character that had the explosive, and then everything fades to black. And that's it. That's the end.
That's stupid. Please,
yep.
that's...
And then you get the epilogue.
The epilogue, which is just a giant, bold font that says, "Please read my next book. Thank you."
No, the epilogue is, hey, here's the person that turned out to be the super evil villain of this book, but they're talking to an even bigger villain from the Council. So it's like, who the fuck is the Council? Why is this guy wearing a giant fucking mech suit?
Mech suit?
Yeah, it's a dragon mech suit. It's like, what the heck? It's like, you can't answer any questions for us, can you? It's piece of shit. I don't know. I haven't read his early stuff, so I don't know if this is a unique problem to this book, or if he just has really bad problems with pacing and lore dumps and answering questions and whatnot. I'll have to ask somebody who actually read Dragonfire to see how good those are. But yeah, so like you can assume LJ survives. He's the main character. He kind of has to, but like you don't know if everybody else got out fine. Like he's obviously the next goal is to go to the Great Lakes to find New Dawn. So we're going from one radio broadcast at safe place to another radio broadcast at safe place. Because so the entire book, the radio said, come to Arcadia because we have supplies and we're a safe haven. And then they find out that Arcadia is up to some deep dark shit. And then they find a dead radio that shouldn't be working turns on, and it says, don't go to Arcadia, it's a trap. Come to this place instead where the New Dawn is. We're the actual good guys.
We're not a trap.
We're not a trap.
Trust us.
So we're just going to follow a different set of coordinates from a shady radio broadcast now. And then I guess we're going to find out that was evil. And then book 3 is going to a third radio broadcast. But yeah, point is, you don't know. You obviously know he survives and that's where he's going to go next. But you don't know. Like, I don't know if anybody else from his initial group survived. I don't know what other characters are going to be there in book 2 now. Did they all get out okay? Are they going to be there with like the 50 people they just saved? Is it going to be a convoy of 50 people? I have no idea what to expect going into book 2, which is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, the lessons from Walking Dead is the bigger your group, the more problematic it becomes, because now you have multiple mouths to feed and multiple people's personalities might clash, and it's like the best way to survive a zombie apocalypse or becoming a dragon apocalypse, whatever, keep your group small, find a defensible location, and bunker down. Do not advertise, do not broadcast, defend with absolute violence. There. I have saved you. If you all wake up tomorrow in a zombie apocalypse, there you go.
I hope they keep Phil and Little Q, though. I like those two. Right, Dilatin?
I'm calling it right now. Sammy's going to be the only survivor.
Sammy's the one that was bit. If she's the only survivor, that kind of sucks.
No, the plot twist is that she's also immune. I'm calling it right now.
I think she's going to come back as an evil android because they found her body, they repaired it, and put the microchip in her head. That's what I'm calling it.
Well, the microchip only works on Wendigos. It melts normal people's heads.
Right, but she got bit, so she is going to become a Wendigo.
Oh, and then they, then they can mind control her Wendigo body.
Yeah. That's my prediction. It's going to suck, and I'll be mad if it's true, but that's my prediction.
I feel like mine's more cliche enough to work.
It aggravates me whenever you guys say Wendigo, because I know that they're called the book, but like Wendigos don't look anything like what they turned into. Like Wendigos are anorexic deer monsters with exposed skulls, and it's like, yeah, are you just like allergic to using the word dragon? Did he, to your recollections, either of you, did he ever use the word dragon?
A couple times, like once or twice they used the word dragon.
Jason says once.
I mean, I didn't bother counting, but I do remember it came up at least once or twice or something. One cool thing to note about the physiology of these creatures they turn into is some of them just win the genetic lottery. Like Crow, there's a character called Crow Bantam. Mm-hmm. She's a black-furred version of those creatures, and she's twice the size, so she's massive, and she actually has black feather wings.
That's neat. Also, yeah. I did a search within the ebook. They used the word dragon 4 times.
Nice. So you got her. She's really big and has wings. Then there's a couple that they refer to as alpha Wendigos in some of the cities that were twice as big and had big ass giant deer antlers. You got the gold patterned one from the recording that apparently saved LJ from turning crazy. No idea how, because the recording cuts off before you find out how. Of course, can't have any answers. Fucker. But yeah, the point being is there are several very large specimens with very unique traits, either wings or antlers or magical powers or something. And so it's just really interesting to know that some of these guys are just being turned into like alphas or dire versions or whatever. It's like they totally should just start like devolving into like a pack structure. That's where I would go with it. All right. I guess to close out, Dilatan, we kind of touched on this a bit already, but like predictions for the future. What would you have changed about this book if you wrote it?
Where to fucking begin?
Would you throw the book out and rewrite it? Okay.
Yes.
Start from scratch.
Start from scratch. I would just do. I was going to suggest doing my whole Terminator idea. I'm just tired of zombies. I can't even think of a way to write this to where it'd be appealing to me.
Most of my changes would have been a bit more werewolfy and a bit less zombie-y. It's like you can have the quote zombies out there that are constantly crazy, wild, and feral, but I feel like rather than them being threatened by bites, just have some of them like struggling with their brains are deteriorating. They're going to become savage because their skulls are too small, but they can fight against it. So have it be more of a werewolf thing than a zombie thing. That would have been like my biggest change. I also would have had the one character who was like super good at everything because he embraced it. But I don't know.
The way I would have
Would you have? Sorry, I guess you can.
I would have made the main character less of a fucking pathetic little whiner. I am not necessarily saying that he would fully embrace it and be like, yeah, this is great, but more along the intelligent thinking type. Like, okay, I need to figure out what the hell's going on here. I need to,
No, I'm sick of intelligent thinking types.
Well,
like a lot of the stuff that I read, that's the trope. It's always like, because a lot of what I read is lit RPGs, okay? And so they have
but
stats.
But it's more palatable than a whiner.
It really is.
You gotta admit
maybe.
that
So it depends. I'll admit that LJ went a bit too overboard with the whining, but it depends. The thing is, a lot of the stuff that I read, there's always like, there's a stat and classes and whatnot, and they're like, well, I'm going to max my luck. I'm going to max my intelligence or whatever, because I'm going to be clever about this. I'm sick of that. For once, give me one of these characters that gets reincarnated as like a lizardman that decides, fuck it, I'm maxing my strength. I'm going to be this big hulking unstoppable monster.
I mean, maybe you haven't read all those lit RPGs, but I guarantee you there's just as many of those out there.
I mean, then somebody please suggest me one, because like one of the books I read recently, Master of the Horde, is another such thing where he has to choose which type of dragon to evolve into, and he picks the Shadow Dragon, who is really good at laying traps and trickery and deceit. And it's like, no, please, someone just pick the red dragon, just be the big giant brute who can't be stopped. Come on. I'm so tired of these, but I'm going to be clever about it. That's the trope.
Dilettante, are you a big brute who can't be stopped?
Absolutely.
No, Dilettante's just this giant pathetic chunk. He's
you take away his bed.
Yeah, a big brute is yeah, once I get going, my momentum cannot be stopped.
But you can only get going if it's downhill.
Love you, Dilettante. All right, let's finish up. It's already like Dilettante needs to go.
Yeah, there's a lot of white space. I think we're gonna lose like half an hour of me cutting stuff out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say real fast.
I keep going for a little bit.
I was gonna ask. I remember I was gonna ask you guys now. I had a question, mostly to the 10 because you actually read the book. How would you have felt if there were still some humans? Like, not everybody transformed, maybe most people, but like in their little ragtag group of 8 people trying to get to Arcadia, if like 1 or 2 of them were still human.
I would have actually preferred that rather than just like a 100% everybody transformed.
Dilettante, I'm breaking up with you.
Like clashing society. What? Hold on now. Let me defend myself. Clashing societies would have been more interesting.
That's the thing. I love clashing societies, clashing cultures, clashing physiologies. The fact that, like, granted, if some of them were still human, I would have wanted these dragons to be a bit bigger to where they couldn't fit inside the driver's seat of a car, honestly. Make them a bit closer to, like, horse-sized, I guess. But, like, that would have just been, I feel like that would have been a more interesting dynamic and dichotomy to play with. But like the
problem is that's not a traditional zombie trope. So he's not.
But then it would have been better. Have some of these survivors that turn into dragons are like trying to come to terms with their new bodies, and they're being very jealous of the human survivors. But you know what? The fact that they turn into dragons means they can handle the fighting and hunting to help keep the entire group alive. And we're building this little society where this dragon and this human friend. I don't know, like that. Oh, it would have been a much better story, in my opinion. Yeah, see? Ray's ideas get interesting. I love my ideas. I'm putting it on my idea list. I need to sit down and freaking write some of these down. Bantam, help me author something.
All right.
All right. Any other final thoughts? Like I just had, that was my final thought.
No. Oh, what are we doing next time?
Well, Dilettante, you good? Nothing else you want to complain about?
No, I got my complaints out of the way.
Okay. All right, so thank you for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed listening to us complain about this book. LJ, if you're listening, just don't do zombies. I don't know. It felt tropey. I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend you if you're listening. I hope this doesn't, like, hurt your feelings. because I don't mean to be offensive, but like, oh, there were so many tropes, man.
I know that my own writing can have problems, but see, I solve that problem by just not releasing it. Like, it's for my own personal. Personal collection of short stories.
Well, that's not the outcome we want either.
I know, but like, look, I'm not saying that you're a bad writer if you're listening. I'm not saying.
No, I felt like his writing was good. Just a lot of his story and plot ideas were like,
tropey,
what?
And it's super cliche, and it's.
And like I said, a lot of the twists at the end made no sense, and I was like, what's going on?
The personalities for at least the main character were absolutely awful. And you know what? That's my opinion. Like, there's someone out there who probably loves that. But yeah, it was a rough. I couldn't even get through the first few chapters, and every review I read was like, oh, if you can make it through the first few chapters, the rest of the book is smooth sailing. And from what you guys have told me, I would have hated the rest of it too. Because, yeah, I did watch The Walking Dead. And I started to hate it. And it's just, ugh.
But yeah. Thank you for putting more Dragon content out there. But branch out from tropes? I don't know the nice way to say that. I'm sorry. I'm going to cut all that.
Put your bag of tropes away. I'm
Put the bag of tropes away.
I'm stealing it.
But yeah, anyway, so yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. If you want to come to the author's defense and get mad at us, there are certain ways you can get in contact with us. Bantam, how are those ways?
How are those ways? So we have a Twitter. It's @officialwadpod. We have an email, wadpodcastmail@gmail.com. We do have a Patreon at World of Dragons Podcast, and we have a Discord, which will be linked in the show notes.
Yeah, because Discord links suck. But yeah, let us know what you thought of this episode. If you want to refute any of our points, if you have any other things to suggest that we cover, please let us know as well. And like I said at the beginning of the show, our anniversary episode is coming up in, I think, like 2 or 3 episodes. So any questions you want us to answer, and then any suggestions for our 50th episode spectacular. Also want to give a special thank you to all of our patrons, with a special shout out to our VIP patrons, Comrade and Kazin.
I'm going to suggest for our 50th anniversary, we do shitty dragon movies too.
No.
Come on, that was so much fun.
It was fun.
It was fun until we fucked it up and ended up finding some good ones.
No.
That's
what
the
I mean
beauty
is like,
of it.
Well, we will do that again. It's just because it's something we've done before. It shouldn't be the 50th spectacular.
Yeah.
It should be a bit more special than that, I feel.
Maybe for Halloween this year we can do, because Ray and I were in Walmart at one point.
Do werewolf movies?
We were in Walmart at one point and we found like 8 dragon movies on the DVD wall, and they were all like Dilettante would recognize what models they used. Like straight out of Unity dragon assets with a bunch of soldiers just screaming and yelling and fire everywhere, and they all had the dumbest fucking names like Dragon Siege and Dragons.
There were a couple of dinosaur ones too.
There were a bunch of dinosaur ones, yeah. It was like once you realize that for $100 you can buy a dragon model off the internet and then slap it in your movie. It's just pumping out all these fucking horrible movies. All right. Anyway,
what are we doing next?
So yeah, next episode, we're going to be doing Dota Dragon's Blood, the Netflix original. It's a TV series basically. 2 seasons.
Oh, thank God.
Dilettante like cringing before the needle goes in, and then
what are we doing? What are we doing? It's a TV show. Oh, thank God. But no, I figure we'll give you guys something easy to do. Just watch a TV show to recover from having to read a physical paper book.
Not only that, but a physical zombie book.
Yeah, it wasn't even dragons, it was zombies. But yes, it is Netflix original, so it's only on Netflix, so that's the only place you can watch it. Sorry, viewers. I know people are trying to boycott Netflix, but that's why we got to review it now before it's too late.
And before it gets canceled.
Before Netflix dies.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Yeah. So we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.